Hello and welcome to Middle-earth Shadow of War review. Today we're going to review everything that's good and everything that's bad about the Shadow of War. I finished it in my spare time. Bradley's seen some of it and he's recorded some footage for us today. So Bradley, what did you think of the combat while you were having a go?
Well, I really like the style of it and like all the different attributes and abilities you can do while fighting.
Yeah.
Especially like the ones where you can like stealth them and you can like jump off the building onto them and things like that.
Yeah, the combat's a lot like the old Assassin's Creed games. Very fun. The only issue I did have is once you're doing a siege and you have your defenders in the place and one of them gets into a bleeding effect, you have to go over to them and the only way to revive them is holding circle.
Yeah.
Well, circle also dominates all the enemies. So holding circle, you'll start dominating someone and not revive the guy you want if he's surrounded by enemies.
Yeah.
The only other issue I did have with the combat in the game is when you're doing the triangle circle button to do an execution, sometimes when you push down a log towards an enemy you want, he'll divert to a different enemy, which is really annoying, and it did annoy me so much in this game. Other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the story until Act 3. Now, if you haven't played the game, you won't really know what I'm on about. But once you get to Act 3, it's a part of the game where it's called Shadow Wars. And you have to defend all the fortresses that you've obtained over the duration of the game. Now, I wouldn't have minded defending them once or twice. That would be a bit of fun. But overall, there are 20 siege missions you have to complete the Shadow of War part. And then you don't even get a final boss fight. As soon as you defend your last siege, it ends completely. Now, that to me it was no climax to it. I mean, I like the way it tied into the Lord of the Rings trilogy that comes after this, where Frodo goes on his journey, then destroys the ring in the end. But it was there was no climax and the ending was just boring. It tied it together, but there was no real effort there, I don't think.
Like if you're trying to do all the siege missions on hard difficulty, it can be extremely difficult.
Yeah, because I got to a point where if you are defending your fort and they kill you, they take over your fort and you have to attack them again.
And they get better and better the more they kill you as well.
Yeah. And what happened was, when I was defending, a guy killed me and the Overlord took over the fort.
Yeah.
I then went to attack the fort. I took it all, except for I had to fight the Overlord. And when I went in there, on Nemesis difficulty, the enemies adapt to your attacks instantly. I mean, you try vaulting over them 4 times and they'll stop you vaulting over them.
They'll be resistant to fire, ice,
Yeah.
that.
Well, this guy was resistant to any arrow shots I did, so I couldn't use my bow at all, so I couldn't hit him from a distance. He had a shield, so once you vaulted over him, it just knocked you out.
Yeah.
And you couldn't vault over him anymore. You couldn't stun him unless you got up behind him. And the worst thing is, while you're trying to fight him, you've got loads of enemies all around you attacking you at the same time. Archers shooting at you, spearmen, massive ogres, everything is after you. Now, the only other downside to this game is they introduced the new Ring of Power. Now, at the beginning of the game, it doesn't really do anything compared to the first game. Like in Shadow of Mordor, you took over places and you dominated enemies. You didn't have a ring, you just used the Wraith's ability to dominate people. Now, all that this ring did was the same thing. It gave you the ability to dominate orcs, which didn't make any sense. Make it so that you've made a Ring of Power, it should be some ultimate weapon, some new ability that you didn't have in the first game that you can only get with the ring, which they did do later on in the story. You get a different ring, I won't spoil anything, and you get new abilities due to that ring. Now that was fine. It's just, why put in a Ring of Power if you're not going to make the game do any different to the first game? He might as well have not had the Ring of Power, and they might as well have just left it the same.
You should have been able to kill people as well as dominate them, I think. So you could kill them, but...
Yeah, or you could knock people back with the power.
Yeah.
Like break their guard with the power of the ring. Something extra, at least.
Yeah.
But my verdict for this entire game is it's a great game to play, as long as you've got the patience. Now, from the start to Act 3, it's phenomenal. I loved every minute of it. The gameplay was good. It was immersive in the story. Then it lost the plot. Once you hit the Shadow Wars and you have to defend all your forts over and over again, I was pulling out my hair at some points.
I thought it was clever, because when you're fighting certain like commanders or things like that, and if you like kill one of them, I like that their like blood brother can come and attack you.
Yeah, that was fun.
I feel that was clever to put in the game.
Yeah. But our verdict is it's a great game, so I suggest if you're thinking about buying it or not sure about buying it, and you've played the first one, it is a lot better than the first one in some ways, in other ways it's not. But I strongly suggest trying it out or watching some videos on YouTube and seeing what you think.
You don't have to buy any of the loot boxes either. You're perfectly able.
Yeah, I mean, the market is really annoying. I don't know why they added it in. They didn't need it. It just added a stupid thing to put money on there. Now, the good thing about the game is you have legendary gear, but the bad thing is you can only get legendary gear from legendary
enemies,
commanders or captains. But most of the time you want to recruit legendary warriors, and I've played this game for so many hours, I'm not sure how long I've been playing it, and I still haven't got all of the sets of armour or legendary gear, which is really annoying. Well, that's really all I've got to say about Shadow of War. But it's a definite buy for me. I'm happy I brought it. Just annoyed that it dragged on at the end. Anything else you want to add?
No, it's alright. Yeah.
Alright, that's all we got time for today. If you like what we've done, hit that like button, and we'll see you next time. Cleanfan out.